Hi Queens, how's it going? Snowy here. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Snowy. I am a self-discovery coach and a spiritual advisor. I help women of color to discover happier and healthier, calmer versions of themselves through spirituality and yoga. So today's video, I just wanted to talk about letting go of relationships that no longer serve you along your journey. Now, oftentimes, this is like that dreadful thing that people kind of have to consider when it comes to a lifestyle change, and the road to self discovery really is no different. Um, Now, oftentimes, the relationships that hold the most weight are ones that we've had for a really long time. So we'll say, like, uh, you know, um, a friend that you've had from middle school or high school or even elementary, things like that. Now, when it comes to having lifestyle change, such as beginning a spiritual path or beginning a journey of self discovery, it can be a little difficult to connect with people um, about these new changes that you're experiencing and going through, especially if they're not on a similar wavelength and they're not on a similar path. So, with that, um, you may notice that with certain people, you find that the relationship that you once had really it becomes non existent once you reach a certain level in your journey. So for example, let's say that you had a friend and you guys would go out clubbing every Friday night. And so you decided that you're not really going to be, you don't really want to drink anymore. And instead of going out clubbing, you decided that you're going to take up this Friday night yoga class instead. So the common length, the common wavelength, the common vibration that you and this friend once had, which would be going out, partying, getting shit faced, is not quite the same frequency that you are resonating at anymore. So it's like that connection that you once had is kind of non existent. So you may um I don't know, you may have some internal conflict about this. Like, you miss your friend and you really miss hanging out. You kind of just wish that she'd wants to try this yoga class with you or try something different with you, just because like that scene is getting a little old to you and you're growing and you're experiencing your growth on a whole new level, and you kind of want someone to share this with, and this would be perfect. But she's not really having it. She'd rather go out and instead go drinking and, get shit faced and go dancing, which there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not where you're at this particular point in your life. Now, you might go back and forth between this, internal conflict that you're having, this internal dialogue of, maybe I should just go and suck it up. And you might do it a time or two, but after a while, once you reach a certain point, you just won't even want to entertain the idea anymore. And you really just give up on it. So, your friendship with this said person may also be impacted in some way, because again, you're not seeing them, you're not hanging out, you're not doing the things that you used to do. Now, the thing that most people do, which I've totally been guilty of it as well, is that you feel that connection is dying, and instead of just allowing things to happen however they may and allowing the universe to just play its course, instead you try to hold on to that relationship, and you try to dwell on to that relationship, and you're like, oh well, that's my best friend, and like we've been best friends forever, and like I know everything about her, she knows everything about me, and like, like, no, there's no way in hell, like I'm not gonna change our friendship, or I'm not gonna lose our friendship over this glorious life change that's about to happen, right? So a lot of times we hold on to these things, we hold on to these relationships, and they're not really serving us anymore. But just for the sake of nostalgia and for the sake of, you know, um, the memories, you really just want to hold on, even though it's no longer serving you. Um, it's really just important to consider that if this relationship is something that is meant to be um, to continue on longer in your life than it already has, the relationship will evolve with your journey. Now, this is really important and it's something that people really need to consider, and it's like a self check that you should really be doing on a consistent basis with all things, not only relationships to people, but relationship to all things. You should really consider, is this still serving me? Does this habit serve me in a way of where I want to be? Like, I know that acting in this manner helped me in the past, but is it serving me now? Is it going to be serving me in the future? Is it going to be serving me where I want to be? So these are things that you should consider. And again, the whole thing is you should definitely consider this with relationships. So some relationships, they just teach you things, they just teach you lessons, they teach you how to be, how not to be, they teach you sides of yourself, facets of yourself that you didn't know or that you never would have known had it not been for this individual. So it's not to say that when you need to end a relationship with someone that everything that you invested with one another is not important. Of course, it's important. It's played a role in your life. Even, friendships play a really big role in your personal development, and it does spill over into the way that you relate to people um, in your personal relationships, like not only platonic, but that spills over into your romantic relationships, is the word that I'm thinking of. So it's just really important that you acknowledge these things, though, because sometimes you're just no longer resonating at the same frequency, and it's just time to let that relationship go. Or maybe not necessarily um, just straight up let it go, but you really need to let go of the grasp of the expectation of the relationship, and instead of like, this is the friendship or this is the dynamic of the relationship that we have right now, you could literally say like, okay, so this is the dynamic that we used to have in the past. Like, this used to be my very best friend and we used to do everything together, but I don't really do those things anymore. So this is kind of where the relationship is now. And then from there, you can say, like, okay, well, this is how much the relationship has grown from this beginning start point to now. Now we're both on a spiritual path, or now, at least once a month she tries and she goes and she does this shit with me. Like, she's not into the yoga thing, but she'll go for a walk with me. Like, we'll go for hikes, shit like that. Like, relationships will evolve with your journey. Your journey should never be limited by the relationships that you have. And that goes for any relationship at all, platonic, um, familial, like, it doesn't matter. There should not be a relationship that holds you back from your own spiritual growth ever. And if it does, you're holding on too tight. And it's time that you reevaluate to see, how I mentioned before, how is this relationship serving me? How is this relationship serving where I want to be? Will this relationship serve where I'm trying to go? And if so, how? If not, what can I do about it? But again, in that what you can do about it, know that holding on too tight is never what you need to be doing. Okay? So, I guess just to recap, like, when it comes to relationships, yes, you're going to be growing and you're going to be evolving, and there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with whomever is not growing or evolving with you, right? Or maybe you guys are just not going at the same speed. This is completely normal. This is fine. This is natural. This is a part of life. This is a part of growth. So don't judge those relationships. Don't judge the person. Um, and don't hold on too tightly on your expectations of the relationship. Show gratitude and appreciation for all that the relationship has taught you, for all that the relationship holds for you, for the space that it holds in your heart, and also be willing to let go of the grasp of that relationship so that you know that it ends on good terms, and not necessarily that it has to end. You don't have to cut people off entirely. They're just not going to be a core aspect of your life, and that's completely fine. So being able to accept whatever will be of that relationship is really the most important. So yeah, I think that's it. I hope this value I hope this video has provided some value to you. Um, if it's resonated with you in any way, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Poetic Touch. That's where, that's really where I be at. So, as always, it's my absolute honor to serve you. Thank you so much. Till the next video. Bye.